Lesson 7, Discovering Seats of Inner Magnetism. I've talked of magnetism as something that radiates from within you outward. I've spoken of the spine as your own center, and that from that center you radiate the kind of energy that creates a magnetic field around your body. Within the spine, the energy flow creates that magnetic field, and so I've taken you somewhat in this direction, but there's something more. And that is that there are certain centers in the body that radiate magnetism more than others. For example, the heart. When you talk from the heart, when your feeling comes from the heart, you can feel the difference. For example, if I were to sing or speak with just a chest tone, ma, like that, or if I bring the heart into it, ma, ma, it comes from a heart feeling, and people can feel that energy, and that energy is magnetic. This center that I've talked about, the seat of will, if you can project your energy through that, it has a lot more magnetism than if you sort of vaguely think energy, willpower, magnetism. You will see that there's another side to it too, that some people have a low kind of magnetism. That is to say, a magnetism that brings your consciousness downward, that brings you into a feeling of heaviness, of depression. I remember one friend of mine was going through a hard time in his life, and he used to come into my room. We lived in 2 rooms adjacent to one another, and he would come into my room and sit on the side of my bed and sort of go like this and sigh heavily. And there was such a depressing feeling in his presence that it took me several minutes after he left the room for me to be able to shake that gloom. Well, his energy, even the posture of his body, indicated a downward movement. And when the energy is down in the lower part of the spine, it tends to have a kind of magnetism that is depressing, that inspires other people with that. There is that song, Gloomy Sunday. I don't know if any of you remember that, but many years ago it was banned from the radio because too many people listening to it got so much into the dumps that they committed suicide. The magnetism of sound, the magnetism of the level of the energy, all of these things. I remember the movie years ago, The Razor's Edge. There's that song in there in the nightclub in Paris, a melody that's very attractive, and I used to listen to it because it had such a haunting magnetism, but I had to be aware gradually that magnetism was pulling me downward, and then I decided I didn't want it. But la 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 la, sort of a depressing kind of feeling, heavy. It draws the mind down. Well, you can magnetize people that way much more easily than you can in an upper way. It's a lot easier to be negative than positive. The mind tends to go downward too easily. That's why so many books are written about negative emotions. So many novels describe negative feelings, because it's easier to describe that kind of thing than it is to talk about higher feelings. But to magnetize people in the way that I was talking, which is to say to inspire and to uplift, this requires working here from the heart center, here from this center of willpower. There's another center right here in the throat, which is the center of expansion, of peace. And if you can bring your energy here, and if you can radiate that energy outward, or like a violin bow sort of passing over these centers outward, you'll be surprised how much more magnetic the energy output that you generate will be. You see, we need to control, we need to direct our energy. It's not just a question of, energy. It's not just a question of, vaguely being forceful in your thoughts. It's a matter of really commanding that energy flow to flow out in the right direction, upward and out through this point here, into the hearts of your listeners, into the heart of whatever it is you're trying to do. And you will see that when you do that there is a kind of energy. You'll finally reach the point where you can really feel that energy going out. And when you can feel it, you'll absolutely know that what you're trying to accomplish will be accomplished. It's something you can experience for yourself. The more you practice it, the more you'll be aware of this actual dynamic flow going there. That is when your efforts will be so concentrated, so powerful, that you will have the kind of magnetism that will inspire many people and that will cause those things to be drawn to you, those doors of opportunity to open, that will make your life really flow towards success in anything that you try to accomplish. So you've heard a lot of people talk, and you've read a lot of books on the subject, of the power of positive thinking. It is a power, but vaguely expressed as just positive thinking isn't nearly so effective as it is when you can learn to channel it, to use your own body almost as a kind of a mechanism for generating this energy flow and directing it as you will.